Hi, everyone. We are on location at the agency Charlotte with Abigail, and we have an exciting show today. We're going to discuss a lot of things with Abigail today. Welcome to Bench to Bold. I'm Elisa.
I'm Marnie.
And we're excited.
Yeah.
Hi.
How are you? Good. Thank you for having me.
We're so excited to be here with you today.
Yes, I am excited to be here with you ladies. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So tell us, Abigail, a little. Let's just jump right in and start with the agency Charlotte. Tell us a little bit about yourself and the agency Charlotte and how long you've been here and all the things.
Sure. So I launched the agency Charlotte in June of 2023. We originally started on the West Coast with Mauricio Umansky and his partner, Billy Rose, over a decade ago. And we felt as though the Charlotte market was just missing like that real estate flair, something that was like modern and hot and exciting with a marketing and PR background that would help resonate with all different types of real estate clients across our market. So we, again, launched in June of 2023 with 10 agents, and we are now at 42 agents in totality. So growing quickly, and then we've planted our first office here in the Ballantyne area of Charlotte, which, as you know, is growing tremendously, which is super exciting. And then we will also work toward opening a Lake Norman office this year as well. So
that's exciting.
Yes.
I remember when you were launching the agency Charlotte, I was so excited to see your launch at your dad's house, and I actually saw that and I was like, what is going on here? This is exciting. You know, all the stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, no, we definitely, I feel like, came into this market very quickly and very fast paced. And we've been fortunate to, grow quickly and just compete with a lot of the luxury brands that have been here for, decades and many, many years growing their business. So I feel very fortunate to have that success in such a short amount of time. And I think we've done things differently in terms of the way that we market to the clientele here. And it's definitely relationship based. And I know we were discussing before the podcast, I was not born here, but raised here. I've been here since I was 3. So I've gotten to see all of the growth and transition and things throughout all of the different communities over the years. So I think that has helped kind of like guide our path to success as well.
So what do you love about real estate? Like, how did you decide I want to do real estate? I want to get people into homes or sell homes or interact with the customers. So what is it about real estate that you love?
Honestly, I just like no 2 days are the same. And I think that like I love helping people. I love just the whole like process of a real estate transaction, just getting to help to guide people through that and be there for them. One thing I love about my role at the agency is the mentorship side. So I feel like that's just kind of like in my blood, in my nature to like want to help people. And besides that, I went to High Point University and got my interior design degree. So I did work in commercial design sales across the Carolinas for many years with my mom. And as much as I wanted to follow in her footsteps and make her proud,
I think you're making her proud.
Yes. But COVID hit, and the commercial design industry went upside down. So people were not purchasing commercial furniture. They did not need commercial finishes. People were working from home. And so it sort of changed the trajectory of that business. And I think I knew prior to that it's not something that I wanted to do long term. And so I went and chased my dreams of doing real estate. And I did not think that I would necessarily be here in such a short amount of time. But I have definitely put in the blood, sweat, and tears. So very thankful for the opportunities.
All right. So how would you describe like a day-to-day transaction, dealing with customers, buying, selling? What is that like?
Yeah. I have to almost like rewind to try and remember what only that piece of my job is like, just because of what I'm managing like day to day. But I think that I'm a very like type A systems oriented type of person. And so I try to implement all of those systems and processes into my business. I have touch points with clients. I'm checking in with them constantly. Obviously doing my research and due diligence just kind of outside of those conversations to make sure that I'm serving them well, and that I'm guiding them in the right direction. So I think, for me, I would say the transactional piece is the communication and just kind of staying in constant communication with the client. And then researching the market and having an understanding of like what is going on out there and how to assist them.
And so have you ever gone, okay, so let's say you get a call and somebody says, all right, Abigail, I want to sell my house. And then you go to the house and they're like, I want to price it at 10 million. And you're like, it's not 10 million. How do you negotiate but they're really so emotionally invested in what they think it is. And so how do you come to a really good, let's say a good solution so that everybody's happy?
I think it depends on the client and what their expectations are, but I think that word expectations is one that I use very frequently. When I'm approaching those types of circumstances, I try to come like with data and with information and with examples of exactly why I'm suggesting what I am. I will certainly stand beside them and shoot for the stars. Like I'm all about that, but I also don't want to damage my reputation in terms of pricing things inappropriately or not having success in selling, and then losing trust, from that client or others that are sort of watching from the outside. So I think it's a delicate balance of like wanting to make sure that you're appeasing the client and that you're ensuring them that you're right there with them. Like you want to give them the most amount of money. I tell people, the more money you make, the more money I make. And that's just, it's super transparent. But it's the truth. So I think that, I remind them that our goals are aligned. I want the same outcome, but I want it to be successful. So.
Yeah, I would imagine it's difficult because you have to be a psychologist in some ways because this is where people are living and they have emotional investment and emotional attachment to it. And then at the same time, also, it's very transactional. And if you're not improving the bottom line, then, that's not so good. All right. So what's happening in the Charlotte market? Where are we now? What's happening in Charlotte?
We're in a very transitional period. So, I would say that compared to other markets and what I'm hearing like on a national and global basis, we are still a very strong market. So we have a lot of people relocating here, a lot of people coming from the West Coast, from the Northeast, and some from the Midwest as well. But I think that those that took the plunge to even go to the South, go to Florida and other areas of the country, to try and escape, what was happening in their world, are looking to the Carolinas to find like an equal balance. So I think Charlotte has stayed fairly steady, even though we've seen a market slow down because of rates and elections and market uncertainty. But overall, I think that we've been consistently successful in terms of like what we're seeing in this market. So it takes a little bit more time to get things sold. People are very picky and selective about what they're looking for, but that's okay. So,
right.
yeah.
And as somebody who's a transplant from California, we moved here 7 years ago from Calabasas, and people were like, wait, are you in the witness protection program? Why are you leaving? And it's been so great. So I am so excited that people are starting to discover the Carolinas. I feel like we were a little bit ahead of the curve here, and the people are so nice, and the community's great, and the weather's great. You have just enough winter to wear a little fake fur here and there, and then be able to enjoy the summers and all that stuff. So I think it's great. Now, how did this agency partnership happen?
With the Carolina Panthers. I've kind of had a vision for the agency since we launched, and I wanted to really hone in on what our market draw was. And I think that different from some of our other partners like Nashville or New York or Texas has kind of like a theme. In other words, like they have something to sort of like dig into the roots of like those cities and states. And not that Charlotte isn't unique or that the Carolinas don't have a lot to offer. We just didn't have like a staple to dig into outside of sports. I feel like sports is huge. I've like grown up with sports my whole life, specifically football. So, that's the one that I prefer. That's the one I know best. But I really wanted to align ourselves with a brand that I felt like was growing and evolving with the city. And I knew that there were a lot of exciting things on the horizon for the Carolina Panthers. So we started conversations. We discussed, what all of that would look like and how the agency brand could kind of intertwine with what they were doing, which I think has been different from other, and I'll just speak to our space real estate partners in the past. That was more transactional, and we really wanted to be like a true partner and someone that could help their staff and their players and, their fans, like kind of just transition into the Carolinas. So that is how we came up with the entitlement partner for the 53 specifically. And Caitlin is phenomenal. Mike was amazing. And they just spoke about how important that unit was to them and how badly they really wanted to see it flourish. There are such amazing people involved. I know, you are a member and we see you at the stadium all the time. It's just, it didn't have the exposure that we felt like it deserved. So we wanted to be a part of helping them to grow that. And then just being a part of their organization as a partner as well.
I feel like it's gotten a lot of exposure, being a member of the 53 Club and the Elite Eight. Caitlin is awesome to work with. The entire staff is actually, they're all awesome to work with. But I feel like the 53 Club, has just elevated with the agency partnership. We love it. We look forward to Sundays because of the agency. I told my husband, I said, if we can't be part of the 53 Club, don't count me into going to every Sunday game just because you look forward to it. We literally get there around 9:30 and we stay in there till time to go on the field, and we don't leave the stadium till 5:00. So it's a whole day commitment, but it's fun. And we have met so many awesome people at the 53 Club. We've built great relationships with these people outside of football that we actually do other things with in the community. So it's been a great partnership.
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, we've been very fortunate to meet most of the 53 members, I feel like, and then those that come kind of to fill their place on certain game days. But the relationships are what matter. And I think that is also something that's really important to the agency, is just relationships. And I know we were talking earlier about what defines luxury in real estate and just the brand as a whole. And I know that the 53 is that luxury experience that everybody wants to have on game day. And that's what the agency is built on. So it's a luxury experience, not just, transactional price points, like that type of I guess, luxury, I don't know what word I'm looking for, but just luxury price point. I think when people think luxury, they just think like a huge dollar amount versus the experience as a whole. And so a lot of that goes back to hospitality and customer service and just again the relationships that are being built within. And we want to do things that will last. And so I think that it was just a really great fit for us to be involved.
And I think that, talking about luxury and customer service, it's what people really crave. It's the connection. And when you're doing something as intimate as buying a new home, selling a new home, that if you don't have those touch points of being able to communicate and showing what luxury is, and we talked about this, everyone's definition of luxury is different, but yet, the way that I would define luxury is, and certainly in with real estate, is connecting with the people that I'm either going to be buying or selling with, and then making sure that they know what I'm looking for and represent me well, which I definitely know that the agency does, and that they're, obviously starting from going back to California. I've known Billy Rose forever and ever and ever. So it's just living in Southern California. Billy was Billy was a Hollywood guy. He was an agent. Billy Rose. And he was really good. And this is something so interesting. He was really good at doing houses, and he would buy old houses and then remodel them and sell them, and was doing that kind of as a side hustle. And then it turned into, he partnered up with Mauricio and built this massive business. So he knows about representing people on the other side, on the Hollywood side. He tried to sell me Beck's old house, the musician Beck. And so it was, he's great. And I think that having people that have a vision, and then you being able to, like to use a football term, pick up the ball and run with it, is so great. And the way that you've built your business in 3 years is incredible.
Thank you.
I mean, like, how do you do that? Like, do you sleep at all? Like, how with kids and everything else? So
No.
what is a day like for you?
Honestly, when I say every day is different, I truly mean that. I think that it's just continuing to get up every day again, like with that vision and carry it forward, and just put one foot in front of the other and keep it moving. Without having had that vision and a really powerful team of people behind me that I can trust, I don't think that it would have been, as successful. So, I have great people that work with me and that also believe in the vision and understand it. And I think that is extremely powerful. And again, on the mentorship side, just to kind of speak about the agency brand here, in our Charlotte office, I am very diligent about providing mentorship to our agents. And, sometimes I do things a little bit differently. It's like I have them all under my wing. Like they're all, like I joke with them during our meetings, like you're all my children. I'm responsible for all of you. But I truly want them to succeed, because if they are succeeding, then we are succeeding as a brand. And so I take that very personally. I want to continue to find time to pour into them so that they are able to learn and establish themselves as agents, and understand the expectations. So again, like regardless of the price points or the clients that they're representing, like what are you doing from start to finish to provide, an honest and trustworthy and like memorable experience to that client so that like they do come back to you, right? Like even just, I remind them it's not transactional. You want to check in with those clients when the transaction's over, like have those touch points with them throughout the year. The little things go a long way, and we talk about going back to the basics all the time. I think people have kind of overcomplicated this like world that we live in. And there's a lot to keep up with. So just nurturing, again, the relationships and finding time to pour back into your clients that you have already worked with is really important. But yeah, my 2 days never look the same. It could be mentorship, it could be clients, it could be, the partnership. There's a lot of things that we're constantly working on. And so my role has evolved, and I certainly still represent clients, but I have all these other responsibilities too. So yeah.
So one of the main reasons we're here today, not to put the agency, down here, but, speaking of the partnership with the Carolina Panthers and the 53 Club, and, everybody's super excited about Rico Dowdle, and he has an event coming up with the agency. Let's talk a little bit about that, because it's a huge event.
Yes. So this was not an event that we sought out or that we were necessarily planning on doing. He actually sought out the agency on his own, which we were super excited about when we saw the message come through. But he wants to give back to the community. He's from here. He's local. He wanted to find a way to partner with us. I think, again, just for the exposure, the marketing and PR side. And we're going to do some other exciting things with him in the future. But this event was kind of like the kickstart to that relationship and partnership. We were lucky enough to be in New York the week after he reached out. So we made an introduction to his marketing manager, who has helped kind of facilitate like where we are going with this. And it's going to be a very large community give back event, benefiting Thompson. So they are our nonprofit partner for this upcoming event. And we are going to be collecting toys from all guests to donate to Thompson for all the children in need. And then Rico will be delivering them post-event, but he will be on site to meet the first 300 guests that RSVP, or groups of guests, I should say, which I think is really exciting. And honestly, we were like, that's so like super cool of you as a player to be willing to meet with that many people and to invest his time during the season. So.
That's great. All right. So the name of the show is called Bench to Bold. So give us something where you were bold and something where you thought maybe you were benched.
Ooh. I think bold was bringing the agency to Charlotte. I saw the vision, like I understood it. I knew what the brand meant. But I've also grown up here my whole life, and it can be a little difficult to like break the mold and to get people to like attach to something new and to invest in understanding it. So I think I kind of took a chance and was bold in bringing the agency brand here, and then doing everything we can to help it flourish. Benched, I'm trying to think like what that, I think that that probably happens like on a more regular basis than I'd like to admit. I mean, just from again, a client facing thing, just trying to get them to understand the brand and, whether it's listings or buyers or, things of that nature. Like it's part of our business, like not everyone, is the right client.
All right. So when you don't get a client, and let's just compare it to being an athlete. So when you don't get a client, it's like not making the play or dropping the pass or whatever. What do you do? How do you recover from that? I mean, is it hard to recover, or do you think, okay, eventually they'll come to me, they'll come back to me, or like what, or all of it?
I think all of that. I think that I do truly believe in the value that I bring, A, as an agent, individually, but again, then B, as the brand. And so I, am very, again, diligent about like following up and just building the relationship. In my beginning years, I think took it more personally. Like, is it a me thing? Like, is it, but as you evolve in the business, you understand that a lot of it really is just relationships, or it's, the husband or the wife or, the family, or there's other people involved in that decision making. And it's not always just like a personal offense, Right. So I try not to get hung up in that and just, leave those doors open and let people know that I'm still here to help them, when and if they're ready. So
do you feel like something sets you aside from your competitors?
Yes. And I think without getting into the nitty gritty of it, I just think that a lot of it is just like the time and attention to detail. You're always going to be working with me as the agent, not someone else on my team. I manage the paperwork, I manage the transactions, and I still do that, even though we have people in-house that service our team. I think that to me is just really important. Like, I want to be involved in everything throughout the entire transaction. So negotiating on my client's behalf, being present, I will answer the phone, any hour of the day. I still do that. And I think that, again, it's just like being available and accessible and just providing, again, like a really high level of service to the client.
All right. So you mentioned earlier that football is your favorite. How did you start watching football? Like, what was that? How did you become a football fan and a Carolina Panther fan?
Yes. So my dad played for the Lions many of years ago. So I feel like I've grown up with football, like NFL specifically in my household, like my entire life. He did not play while I was alive. It was prior to me being born, but it was just like ingrained in us from a young age. And my brother was a diehard Lions fan. I used to watch him cry every Sunday with his Lions blanket wrapped around him because they were terrible for many years. But then obviously when we moved to Carolina, we just inevitably became Carolina fans. We would go to the games, and it's on in our house constantly. And then my brother played at NC State as well, so I feel like it's just all I know.
I know. Well, I think sports brings everybody together. I do think, and in particular football, obviously. I mean, I love football. I grew up in a football family. So I think that when people are cheering for the team, and that's why I think it's such a great partnership, because nothing really gets people more excited than having something where they can go cheer and be excited about that. And then also obviously connect on the big wins and some of the losses. So there is definitely some of that, but I think it brings everybody together. So I'm excited for your partnership with the Carolina Panthers. And I think as more people discover the Carolinas, that you'll be very busy showing them houses and showing people around. So, all right, you have a beautiful office here. How do people get in touch with you? Do they just show up here, or how do people reach you?
Social media, email, phone number. I think most of my information is very public. But you can follow us at the Agency Charlotte on Instagram. And you will find me on there somewhere with my contact information along with the rest of our team. But yeah, my information's out there. So.
And so social media. So now, even in the past 4 or 5 years, how has social media impacted what people are looking at? How are people buying homes from social media? What does social media really mean in the real estate market?
It's a highlight reel of all of, the glamour behind properties. And we're trying to do as best we can with that here in Charlotte. You know, I think that the trajectory of social media is that you see a lot of these like trending real estate videos, and videographers work in big markets. So the expectation of what people see or what the production should look like for every listing is a little bit skewed, to be totally transparent. But we do have some amazing teams here that we work with, and we do provide, you know, premium photography and videography for all of our listings. And it's something that's super important just from a consumer standpoint, so that people can see, you know, what's out there. But social media is a highlight reel for a number of different things. And I think that rings true with real estate as well. So, we're always trying to like put our best foot forward with all of those different offerings. But
yeah, social media, definitely. All right. So if somebody wanted to get into the real estate business, would you encourage them in residential or commercial, but let's just say residential, what are the best things about being a realtor?
I think the flexibility and the ability, you know, to have as much success as you're willing to put in. And that's something that I'm very honest about with people too. When they ask me, like, should I get my real estate license? Actually, I just had this conversation over Thanksgiving with my cousin who's in South Carolina, about getting her license. And I am just very honest about, like what it takes. You know, it's difficult. You have to like build yourself from the ground up. You have to build a brand around yourself. I think that partnering, you know, with the bigger global brands helps to elevate agents that want to get into the business. But I think just knowing the expectations. But I think the best part is just the flexibility and the financial freedom that comes from that.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Especially if you're a mom and you have kids, and you need to be able to have control of your schedule. It's a phenomenal job for that.
So what are the big trends in housing?
The interior design trends have changed. I think we've gone from the black and white, like stark, you know, difference, to like the warm woods and the warm textures and all of those things again. So at least in this market, just because there's a lot of like renovation work being done in some of the top communities, across the greater Charlotte area and beyond, we're seeing like the design trends change. But, some West Coast like style, I'm sure that you're seeing that is coming over. And, you know, outside of that, I think that pretty much
I would
sums
agree,
it up
because we're building a home right now, and the home we live in currently, we renovated 2 years ago. And it was when everyone wanted the stark white kitchen and the veiny quartzite. And I am like, to my interior designer, I'm like, I don't want that again. I want the more warm, the neutral, but I want traditional. I think, you know, super uber modern is on its way out.
Yes.
I want something that's going to last me 10 to 15 years of being in a new home, right? And not feeling sterile. Yeah. Because right now I look at my kitchen and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so sterile. You know, I hate it, but I loved it 2.5, 3 years ago.
Yeah, I think post-COVID, that word sterile was like kind of what everyone was after. And we've evolved even like since then. And everyone's kind of like, okay, I want some warmth back in my home. I want it to feel like I live here. So I think that's what we're saying, you know.
Is it still what they say, the KBCs, the kitchen, bathroom, closet?
Yes.
Okay, the KBCs are
still like the leaders of value for homes. That's what everybody's looking for. Some people are willing to do it, others are not. You know, I think it is a little bit intimidating for people to take it on. Like they just don't know where to begin, and they don't know who to go to. So yeah, I think that sellers that invest in sprucing things up prior to going to market typically have more success. But
like organizational people, or just making it more, just look more organized or better styled?
Yes, styled. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And not necessarily staging, but just styled. So like, you know, the decluttering, the listing preparation. I mean, staging is great. I was in the staging business for a period of time as well. So like when necessary, I think that's super beneficial. But I also think that just like preparing the home and decluttering and organizing and like presenting it in a way that looks transitional,
Yeah,
you know, like that works for
Less is
everybody.
more,
Yes.
right? Less
Yeah.
is more.
All right. So how have reality real estate shows, do they make people think that your job is easy, or do they how have they, what is the conversation that you have with people when you share with them that I'm a realtor and here's what I do? And they're like, oh, that show, whatever.
Yeah. I think, there's a lot of people that think that it's just easy, you know, that it's like as easy as just going and opening a door and then like, you know, closing on the property, and they don't have any understanding of like what goes on behind the scenes and like what our job entails, whether that be inspections or negotiations or, you know, referrals or preparation. Like we offer like a true 5-star experience. So I think we want to be a resource for our clients, as I feel like most agents aspire to do that. And so I think from that standpoint, they don't see everything that's going on behind the scenes. It's very black and white, you know, like start to finish, and you don't see anything in between. So reality TV has a long way to go in terms of like painting a true picture of what we do. But
yes,
yeah.
But it's fun to watch. It is fun to
sure.
watch. It is definitely, there are some fun characters that, get to play realtor, because they're really probably not. They get to act as though they are a broker, but we know that they're probably not really doing that job on the day-to-day basis. All right. So what else? Let's see here, Abigail. What else do you want people to know about your business, and, whether they're buying or selling? I mean, what's the estimated time if they're listing a house? Like, how long can people expect to be on the market, with a few exceptions? Because there's always those things. But how long can what's the process really take?
In terms of preparing for market, I think it depends on the seller and sort of like what we're walking into, and what their preparedness is in terms of whether or not they've done it before, or, you know, they've bought and sold properties, like things like that. In terms of time on market, I would say, things have definitely slowed down. So we're seeing homes, you know, on the market, if priced appropriately, anywhere between like 30 to 45 days, even up to 60 to 90 days, depending on the price points. So I think that it just kind of varies right now. People are starting to get a little bit more comfortable with rates and with where the market is. And again, this is still a highly sought after market. So it is competitive. I think people struggled for a period of time with truly thinking like, oh, like I have time, I can make a decision on this home, like it's not going to go anywhere. And there still are homes that are like flying off the market if they're priced right and they show well. So I think it just kind of depends like on the price point and the preparedness like of the property. But I would say that's about average.
And so as we're getting kind of towards the end, what are the goals? What are your goals for the agency, and how are you going to make that happen? I mean, I know you're going to make it happen, but what are the goals?
Yes. So we will open the Lake Norman office. That's next on the list. I think that's really important to us just from like a growth and expansion standpoint locally. We also have a partnership with Hallmark Building Corporation through one of our agents, Olivia Gallarde and her family. So they are working on a lot of development on the Wilmington coast. And so I foresee us going there next to support all of those developments and things that are in the works. And then we've also discussed like the high country area, Asheville, Highlands. Where do we want to fall in regards to kind of like expanding out across the Carolinas? And Raleigh, Durham is also another market that is a hot topic. So I know that the expansion from an office standpoint is there. What that looks like exactly, I don't know. I think we're just trying to kind of like figure that out as we go, depending on what opportunities present themselves. But we'll see.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So one last question. If someone because I'm going to be putting my house on the market soon. Yeah. So if I come to you as a client and say, Abigail, what is the absolute best time, meaning fall, winter, spring, when you think about school letting out or Christmas holidays, what is the best time to list a home?
Historically, it has always been like spring and summer. So whether or not that still reigns true in our market is again like a tough one to decipher, just because we see people relocating and moving all throughout the year. Usually the fall and winter are our slower months. But I listed a property in Belmont like a couple of weeks ago, and it was under contract in less than 24 hours. And I think there are people that are looking specifically in like desirable neighborhoods and areas where, you know, everyone's kind of trying to congregate or get into, whether that be for schools or their job placement or whatever it may be. So I would still say that spring and summer are stronger in terms of the way that the homes present themselves. I mean, we prefer to market them that way while things are in bloom and it's pretty here and people are out and about. But I would say that we're still getting a pretty decent amount of movement during the fall and winter as well.
So when you mention things are in bloom, I read something the other day. I think Warren Buffett, don't quote me on that, but I think Warren Buffett said that most of the time to get the most money out of a home, it depends on your landscaping, and not only landscaping, but the trees in your yard.
Yes. Yeah, landscaping is a conversation that I have with almost all of our clients, and it's always the last thing that they want to do. And I'm like, they're like, oh, well, it's not in the house. Like, it's not, you know, it's not permanent. Like, that can just be easily fixed, or that can be like cleaned up, or that, you know, and I'm like, well, it's also the first thing that people see when they get out of the car.
Right? It's the curb appeal. As soon as you pull up to a home.
Yes.
You notice the yard.
Yes. So I mean, that is tremendously important, regardless of what time of year it is. Like even if it's bare, like it just needs to be like tidy and cleaned up and like pulled together. You know, things trimmed, limbs picked up, leaves blown, like those types of, yes, all of that, I think is really important. So, it doesn't necessarily have to be in full bloom, but it's just the way that it's like being presented. And believe it or not, a lot of people actually ask, like, I know everything's dead, but like what will bloom? Like what plants are here? Like what, you know, so some people love that stuff and like they want to know every little detail about it. So I think just investing a little bit of time and effort into that will go a long way, versus it being like kind of on the back burner just because it's outside.
Well, you know, presentation is everything. So, I mean, I think that when people are going to look at homes and it feels kind of sad, then even if the inside is great, I mean, it still might be like, it's a little sad. And then, you know, you might not be as excited about going inside because the outside is, you know, not quite as tidy as a potential buyer, you know, wants it to be. And it is just the little things. I mean, the details make everything, as you know, in your business, servicing people. But, you know, as a seller, you want to make sure that the experience is presentable. And I think that that's what creates excitement for potential buyers. And then you can get a bigger price and it's a win-win for everybody.
Yes. First impression matters for sure. So I have that conversation frequently. Yeah, that's a good question.
Well, Abigail, thank you so much for joining us on Bench to Bold. It was a great show, and I love hearing about your partnership with the Panthers and the 53 Club, and the agency is great, and all your plans to grow your business throughout the Carolinas. So for Bench to Bold, I'm Marnie.
And I'm Elisa.
And we'll see you next week.